Have you ever wondered why some superfoods may not be good for your kidneys? Are you worried about your kidney health as you get older? Have you ever felt tired, swollen, or experienced lower back pain without knowing the cause? Could your everyday diet be quietly harming your kidneys without you realizing it? Vegetables like spinach, Swiss chard, and sweet potatoes are full of nutrients, but for older adults and people with kidney disease, they can become hidden dangers. As we age, the kidneys weaken and cannot filter harmful substances as efficiently as before. One wrong food choice can have a major impact on your quality of life. So which vegetables should you avoid? In today's video, we will explore the 7 worst vegetables for seniors and kidney patients and explain why they can be harmful. But do not worry, we will not stop at the dangerous ones. We will also cover the best vegetables for kidney health, share helpful tips to protect your kidneys, and even include simple, tasty recipes that are perfect for older adults. So make sure you stay with us until the end. 1. Beets. Did you know that beets, the vegetable praised as the blood of the earth, can actually cause serious harm to your kidneys? Why are beets dangerous? First reason, oxalates. Beets contain very high levels of oxalates. What are oxalates? They are natural compounds that help plants regulate calcium. But inside your body, they bind with calcium and form kidney stones, and if you have ever had a kidney stone, you know how unbearable that pain can be. Second reason, too much potassium. 1 cup of beets contains up to 450 milligrams of potassium, which is about 11% of the daily requirement. Sounds harmless, right? But for someone with kidney disease, this amount is dangerous. When the kidneys are weak, potassium builds up in the blood, causing hyperkalemia. The result, heart rhythm problems, muscle weakness, and even paralysis. This is why many kidney patients end up in the emergency room after eating too many beets. Does this mean you must avoid beets completely? Not always. If you really love beets, here are 3 safe methods. First, eat less and eat smart. Eat only 2 to 3 small pieces per week. And never combine beets with spinach, almonds, or dark chocolate, because these foods are also high in oxalates. Second, pair beets with calcium. Eat with Greek yogurt, add feta cheese to your beet salads, or drink kefir after your meal. Why? Because calcium binds oxalates in the gut before they reach the kidneys. Third, boil and ferment the Russian secret. In Russia, people have a long tradition of boiling and fermenting beets. They know something important. Boiling beets for 15 to 20 minutes and discarding the water reduces oxalates by 30 to 50%. Fermenting beets into kvass or borscht lowers oxalates even further and supports gut health. Important warning: if you are in stage 3 to 5 of chronic kidney disease, or you have had kidney stones more than twice, completely avoid beets, no exceptions. Always speak with your doctor or renal dietitian before trying any of these methods. But beets are nothing compared to the next vegetable. 2. Potatoes. Potatoes are a staple food for millions of people. But are they safe for kidney patients? The answer is not as simple as you might think. Potatoes are rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, but they also contain extremely high potassium levels, which can be dangerous for people with kidney disease. Listen to this. A small potato can contain more than 700 milligrams of potassium, and a medium baked potato with the skin can contain up to 926 milligrams. That is nearly 1/4 of the daily potassium intake for a healthy person, but for a kidney patient, it is a serious red flag. Does this mean you must stop eating potatoes? No, you can still enjoy potatoes, but you must prepare them the right way. The best method to reduce potassium is boiling. Cut potatoes into small pieces and boil them for at least 10 minutes. This removes more than 50% of the potassium. Yes, half of the dangerous potassium disappears with simple boiling. However, even after boiling, a 1/4 cup serving still contains 100 to 200 milligrams of potassium, so portion control is essential. Do not assume boiled potatoes are safe to eat freely. Another helpful method is soaking potatoes in water for several hours before cooking. This can lower potassium even more, like washing away the harmful minerals. But what about French fries and packaged potato snacks? This is where things become truly dangerous. Fast food and processed potato products may seem convenient, but they are potassium bombs. A small order of fries at a fast food restaurant contains 470 to 510 milligrams of potassium. Sounds acceptable, right? But a large serving can contain more than 10 milligrams, nearly the entire daily limit for a kidney patient. Contain 265 to 495 milligrams per ounce, and realistically, who eats only 28 grams? Most people finish the whole bag and overload their kidneys without realizing it. So are these snacks worth the risk? The answer is no unless you eat them in very tiny amounts and only occasionally, but honestly, once the bag is open, most people do not stop. If you love potatoes, you do not need to eliminate them completely. The key is 3 simple words: boil, soak, and control portions. Remember, boiled, fresh potatoes are always better than fried or packaged ones. Your kidneys will thank you for choosing wisely. But if you think potatoes are risky, wait until you hear about the next vegetable. 3. Spinach. Spinach is often praised as a superfood, but for people with kidney disease, it can actually be one of the worst choices. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains about 755 milligrams of oxalate and 420 milligrams of potassium. And because spinach shrinks down when cooked, each bite becomes even more concentrated in these compounds. Does boiling reduce potassium and oxalate? Boiling spinach does reduce oxalate because it dissolves into the cooking water. That can lower the risk of forming kidney stones, but does boiling remove potassium? Not in the same way. Some potassium leaches into the water, but spinach still remains a high potassium food, even after boiling. Light blanching removes even less potassium than boiling for a longer time. So does boiling make spinach safe for kidney patients? The truth is no. Even boiled spinach still contains far more potassium and oxalates than most other vegetables, so if you are prone to kidney stones, eating boiled spinach can still be risky. You may be able to enjoy a small amount occasionally, but only if eaten with a calcium-rich food like yogurt to help block oxalate absorption. But is that risk worth it? Probably not. Lower oxalate leafy greens like arugula, bok choy, or mustard greens are much safer alternatives. 4. Tomatoes. Have you ever wondered whether a common everyday vegetable like tomatoes could be high in oxalates? Tomatoes may not be ideal if you have kidney disease. Yes, tomatoes are actually high in potassium, and as mentioned earlier, managing potassium can be stressful for weakened kidneys. So should you avoid tomatoes entirely? Not necessarily. Many high potassium foods can still be eaten in small amounts and provide important nutrition and flavor. How much fresh tomato can you safely eat if your potassium levels are stable? 1 medium tomato, about 80 grams per day, is usually safe. You can enjoy it in salads, sandwiches, or cooked dishes. But should you eat tomatoes at every meal? No. It is best to limit tomatoes to once a day to help control potassium intake. If your potassium levels are high, you may need to reduce tomato consumption to 1 to 3 times per week. What about canned tomatoes? Here is some good news. A standard 14-ounce can, about 1 3/4 cups, contains roughly the same amount of potassium as 1 fresh tomato. And because canned tomatoes are divided across multiple servings in recipes, they can fit into a kidney-friendly diet in moderation. But what about tomato puree or tomato paste? Even a small amount of puree contains the potassium of several fresh tomatoes. That is why kidney-friendly recipes often reduce or remove other high-potassium ingredients when tomatoes are included. Is tomato juice safe? If you need to lower your potassium, it is best to avoid tomato juice entirely. In summary, if you are on a low-potassium diet, avoid concentrated tomato products like tomato paste, tomato sauce, and tomato juice. Instead, use 2 to 3 slices of fresh tomato or a few cherry tomato halves in your salads or sandwiches. 5. White turnips. White turnips are a root vegetable similar to carrots, but did you know they are very high in potassium? 1 cup, about 160 grams, contains 570 milligrams of potassium, which is a significant amount for someone following a low-potassium diet. While potassium is essential for heart health, people with chronic kidney disease or those taking blood pressure medications may need to be cautious. Does that mean you should avoid white turnips completely? Not always. They are commonly used in soups, stews, and roasted dishes, especially during colder months. Their natural sweetness makes them very popular. But if you have CKD, should you eliminate them or simply eat less? If your doctor recommends a low-potassium diet, you may need to limit turnips rather than avoid them entirely. For most CKD patients, a small serving, about half a cup of cooked turnips, can be eaten occasionally. How can you safely reduce potassium? Boiling turnips in plenty of water for at least 10 minutes can help remove some potassium. Cutting them into small pieces before boiling helps reduce even more. However, roasting or steaming turnips does not reduce potassium. In short, turnips are nutritious but high in potassium. If you have CKD, limit your portions, boil them first, and avoid eating them too often. 6. White beans and lima beans. Legumes like peas and lentils are high in protein, fiber, and essential nutrients. But are they kidney-friendly? Not all of them, especially if you need to control oxalate or potassium intake. Some beans can be problematic. For example, white beans contain about 76 milligrams of oxalate per half cup and around 399 milligrams of potassium. The lima beans are even higher, with 955 milligrams of potassium per cup, a large amount for anyone on a low-potassium diet. Kidney beans, white beans, lima beans, and black beans are all high in potassium. Lower potassium alternatives include green beans, wax beans, and split peas. These can be eaten in moderation. Can potassium be reduced by cooking? Yes, but the results vary. Boiling beans in extra water and soaking them overnight can help remove some potassium. However, even after soaking and cooking, they still retain a significant amount. If you have CKD, limiting your portion sizes rather than completely avoiding beans is often best, but if your potassium levels are high, it is safer to limit high potassium beans and choose low potassium varieties instead. Always consult your doctor or renal dietitian to choose the right beans for your diet. 7. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are often praised for their nutritional benefits, but are they safe for a low-oxalate, kidney-friendly diet? Not really. A 140-gram serving of cooked sweet potato contains 141 milligrams of oxalate, far above the daily 40 to 50 milligram limit for a low-oxalate diet. What about potassium? A medium sweet potato contains around 450 milligrams of potassium, which can be a problem for people with chronic kidney disease. If your doctor has advised you to limit potassium, eating sweet potatoes can raise your potassium levels and increase the risk of hyperkalemia. Are all sweet potatoes harmful? Although naturally high in both potassium and oxalate, potassium can be reduced. Does cooking help? Yes, but only for potassium. Boiling sweet potatoes and discarding the water can remove 50 to 75% of the potassium. However, this does not significantly reduce oxalate, which means sweet potatoes remain risky for people prone to kidney stones. If you have CKD or kidney stones, should you avoid sweet potatoes? It is best to avoid them entirely or eat very small amounts only after thorough boiling. The top 3 best vegetables for your kidneys. Number 1. Onions. You probably already know that onions are great for kidney health. They're low in potassium, rich in antioxidants, and full of flavor. But what makes them even better is their ability to boost the taste of any dish without relying on salt. Quercetin and other flavonoids don't just sound fancy, they actually help reduce inflammation and support heart health, which is extremely important for anyone with kidney disease. On top of that, the fiber in onions can help support healthy creatinine levels. So how do you get the most out of onions? Eat them raw in salads or sandwiches to keep the crunch, or sauté them in olive oil to add depth to soups, veggies, and meats. Number 2. Green beans. Green beans take the second spot because they're low in oxalate and potassium, yet high in fiber. With only about 209 milligrams of potassium per cup, green beans are a much safer choice for kidney patients. While many beans contain high levels of oxalates, green beans have almost none, making them a smarter option if you're dealing with kidney stones. Want a kidney-friendly way to enjoy green beans? Try garlic lemon sautéed green beans. Just sauté fresh green beans in olive oil, add minced garlic, and finish with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice for a light, delicious side dish. Number 3. Cucumbers. Cucumbers are excellent for kidney health because they're low in potassium and high in water, helping the body flush out toxins and stay hydrated. Unlike many high-potassium vegetables, cucumbers are a safe, everyday choice for people managing kidney issues. If you're a cucumber lover, try this kidney-friendly cucumber and cream cheese sandwich. Mix 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, and 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Refrigerate for 1 hour. Spread onto 4 slices of bread, layer with sliced cucumbers, and sprinkle with dill. Cut and serve. Each serving contains only about 208 milligrams of potassium and 425 milligrams of sodium, making it very kidney-friendly. And those are the 7 worst vegetables that can potentially harm people with kidney disease. However, that does not mean you need to avoid them entirely. Instead, choose 1 or 2 that fit your taste and your health needs, and enjoy them in moderation. But that is not all. Remember that kidney health is closely connected to diabetes and overall metabolic balance. Managing your blood sugar levels plays a major role in protecting your kidneys from long-term damage. For more tips on maintaining strong kidney function and better overall health, check out the information below, and be sure to visit our other channel dedicated to diabetes-friendly health advice.